chemistry is for everyone, but two are the department agriculture who produce it and the hotel management who serve it is the important one to provide this immunity and safety uh, to everyone. I think it is okay. Rest of the thing regarding Dr. Mohit Kapoor, I will share in the chat box their profile, their working experience. Now I am handing over it to Dr. Mohit sir. Mohit sir, please, you may start your uh, valuable inputs and guide our students, guide our faculty, guide everyone how to maintain safety and how to maintain immunity. Yes, sir. Mohit sir.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, everyone. Good morning,
I
sir.
hope everyone, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Pandit,
Dr.
for the
Pandit.
generous introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here with all of you. Today, as Dr. Pandit already described, the topic is the food chemistry to immunity. So the thing is that these days we take the things for the granted, that if somebody told us that what kind of food is good for us, or what kind of nutrition things is good for our health, we take it as a granted, because that's coming from the generation. Let's say in your house somebody told you that you should eat this kind of thing, you should eat this, or you drink that. Is good for health. Okay, that's good for health, but we do not know the exact reason behind it. We just take the things as a granted because that is coming from the generation, or that somebody told us in the market, or somebody told us in our friend circle. But here today, of course, I would like to convince you in some of the food items that what kind or what are the mechanisms that lead us to believe that the food is good for our health, is good for our immunity. So to take you on the journey for the food chemistry to immunity, we have to understand few basic things about the immunity. So to deal with the immunity, or to improve the immunity, we should understand how our body get affected with any kind of the virus. I'm taking the example of the coronavirus because this is the current pandemic going on. But in any case, or in any kind of the virus, the situation, the absorption, the infection will be same. The rate of affecting the cells will be only different. The rest of the things, that how it enters in the body, how it replicates, or how it infects us, will be similar, will not be any difference. So, for an example, let's take the example of the coronavirus, that how it affect our body. Then we will move towards the immunity as well as the food. So, as I just said, that I'm taking the example of the coronavirus, you can see on the slide on the left top that it shows the structure of the coronavirus, which have the spikes kind of thing. The spikes I'm saying is the yellow kind of flowers. So these yellow flowers, as you can see, the spike on the sphere or the circle is some kind of the proteins which we called as the glycoproteins. So these glycoproteins help the virus to stick onto the normal cells with the help of these proteins. So, of course, everybody knows the main source of getting the virus in the body is the inhalation. We inhale the virus via mouth or the nose, so it get absorbed, as you can see in the left bottom slide, in the left bottom of the slide, that the virus get absorbed on the cell surface. Now the virus get absorbed on the cell surface is just because of those proteins, as I just mentioned before. Those proteins is like the key, and the cell surface have the receptor, which is just considered as the lock. So the key and the lock, the key has to fit in the lock to open the locks. It's the same thing, same concept of the virus attaching to the normal cell surface. So when the virus get in the close proximity of the cell surface have the receptor where the spikes of the glycoprotein will attach to it as a key. So it will open means it will take the entry into the normal cells. Once it enter the cells, it get disturbed. What get disturbed? The virus structure get disturbed. What that means? The genomes present inside the virus. Now the genomes is nothing but the DNA and the RNAs. The DNA and RNA present inside the virus will get into the normal cells, and our normal cells have some kind of machinery to photostate, to photocopy, to replicate the DNA and RNAs. So that's all. The virus hijack the normal cell system. The DNA and RNA coming out of the virus structure get replicate, get multiply number of times, hundred of times, and that's how the virus get its the one virus molecule converted to the 100 virus molecule within a fraction of second and get distributed in all over the body. So all right, so that's how the virus get into our body and body get affected. So this how it enters, as I just explained. The virus have the proteins that comes into the body, release its DNA and RNAs, then get copies. Copies means get multiply, and that multiplication will lead to the new virus structures and affect all the cells and all the body normal cells, right? So that's the very brief thing, very brief about how the virus affect our body. But that's not the things only, because once the virus affect our body mechanism is there. Our body immune system now take the charge to protect our body from the virus. That's the important step to understand. Then only we will understand how immunity can be improved. So once the body host cell is the normal cell, as you can see in the slides figure that I wrote down there. The host cell is nothing but the normal cells present in our body. So the host cell get affected with the virus. As you can see, the virus is some kind of the light purplish or the light bluish color. So that get affected, or then the host cell have the virus inside. Now this affected cell trigger the immune system of our body. Now once our immune system get triggered, that release some kind of the phagocyte. Phagocyte is nothing but another kind of the organisms which have DNA and RNA. So it's all about the DNA and RNA. That phagocytes also is some kind of the cells, some kind of the organisms. So, okay, coming to brief, the host cell get affected with the virus. Once it get affected, our body release the phagocytes in response to the affected cell. Now those phagocytes try to kill the virus. That's why we say that we have to improve our immunity. Improve our immunity means we should have the phagocytes coming in as soon as our body get affected. So the phagocyte get into action as our body get affected or infected, and that kill the virus immediately. But 90% of the virus get killed, but 10% is still remaining. 10% of the virus is still remaining, which is capable enough to to disturb the rest of the system. Capable enough to disturb the rest of the system. So that's how it affects the whole system. Now as I just mentioned, that 90% of the virus get killed by the phagocytes, 10% is remaining that is capable enough to multiply itself into the number of the virus molecule and affect the whole body. In that terms, in that case, we need some extra antiviral or some extra drugs to protect our body from the virus. But but that 10% also can be covered with the phagocyte if we improve our immunity or if we keep our body in the good health. Now the term comes in. Now the things comes in about what happens else. Because as you know, as everybody knows, certain kind of the reactions have side effects in our body. Is the same thing. When our body release the phagocytes, we do have the side effects. We do have the side effect. So in when our body releases the phagocytes, the reactive oxygen species kicked in. So what that means, the reactive oxygen species or the ROS is the side effect of the phagocytes. So of course, you are treating your body, you are eliminating 90% of the virus from your body with the help of those phagocytes. But on the other hand, you are creating reactive oxygen species in your body, which is damaging the normal cells, which is damaging the normal cells. So the reactive oxygen species generated during the process of the phagocytosis. During the process of the phagocytosis. What is the process of phagocytosis? Is nothing but the generation of phagocyte. Okay, so the reactive oxygen species generated during the process of the phagocytosis damage the DNA and the RNA, multiple other enzymes and proteins in our body. So that's why it's very important to keep the body healthy, to keep the immune system at the higher rate, so that we can minimize all those effects. Now, at certain point, at certain up to certain extent only we can minimize. But at one stage, when they get overwhelmed, when our body get overwhelmed with the infection, we need some antiviral agent, we need some drugs. So that time we have to improve our immune system with the drugs as well. So immune system is nothing but the set of the organisms. Is not is the same thing, is the same thing, is the same kind of the cells, have the DNA and RNA and all those funny stuff. So immune system is nothing but the enzyme species, is some kind of the organisms. So so to improve that, we should know what kind of immunity we have in our body. Every person have three kind of immunity in the body. One is the non-physical and physical chemical defense. Another is the innate immunity, and the third is the adaptive immunity. So the first one, the non-specific and physical and chemical defense immunity system, is a natural one. So the two types of immunity is the natural ones. The first one and the second one. So innate immunity and the non-specific physical and chemical defense immunity is the natural ones. Adaptive immunity is the artificial ones. So the non-specific or physical chemical defense is nothing but the barriers of the skin, the membranes, the stomach acid. So all those things are the natural one which comes with the birth. Also, macrophages, some kind of cells, some kind of immune system. As I just mentioned to you, that our immune system triggers when the body get infected. So those organisms also is a natural one. We don't have to do anything for that. But to improve them is the third kind of immunity, which is called adaptive immunity. So adaptive immunity is the immunity that can be improved with some kind of food, some kind of drugs, some kind of exercise. It depends up body to body. So we will be talking only about the adaptive immunity today, right? Because adaptive immunity is the artificial one, which has to be improved or which should be improved for every human being, right? Which has to be improved for every human being. So for that purpose, of course, the food items is the best one. But why not antiviral agent? Why we should not have the preference for the drugs over the food? Reason is very simple. Antiviral agent is nothing but the external or the foreign particles or the foreign elements that you are injecting into your body. Of course, anything you inject, except anything artificial you inject into your body, is dangerous. Anything artificial. Anything natural, of course, is not benign or is not good as all the things, but is not bad as well. So what that means, medicines kill the viruses, but it has to enter our biological system. The drugs has to enter our biological system to treat the body. What that means, you are penetrating the biological system with the foreign particles. What that means, it might have the effect on the normal cells as well, because antiviral agents most of the time will not be able to differentiate between the viral cells and the normal cells. So the best thing is the vegetables. Best thing is the natural food, because that improves the immunity in a natural way. So the toxicity is very less. So the vegetarian diet is the best diet to improve the immune system. A study shows that the non-vegetarians are much prone to the infections as compared to the vegetarian. The reason behind it, that because the vegetables have the phytochemicals along with the lipids and the fat and the protein contents, the balanced protein and the fat contents that leads to the higher immunity. So we should consume the vitamin C rich foods. So once we talk about so we will go one by one. I'm not talking only about the vitamin C. We will talk about the other foods as well in my upcoming slides. But the first is the vitamin C. When we talk about the vitamin C, is not only the orange juice. The vitamin C is present in the broccoli as well as at least 3 times of the orange juice. So when we talk about the vitamin C, the picture comes in our mind is about the juice and the citrus fruits. So it's not only the citrus fruit, but it's also the other foods as well. All right. But why it is important, how it works out. So the chemistry of the lemon or the chemistry of the vitamin C is very important to understand, that what makes it very important. So the main component of the vitamin C is ascorbic acid. Vitamin C is nothing but ascorbic acid. So the citric acid and the malic acid and ascorbic acid, all those funny structures are the components of the lemon, or the components of the citrus fruits, or are the components of the vitamin C. So basically, of course, the citric acid and malic acid is responsible for the taste, for the sour taste of the citrus fruits. But the mode of action, which is more important, the chemical or the component which affect or which protect our body from the viral infection is ascorbic acid. This structure you can see is ascorbic acid. So this is the main component that protect our body from the infection. How? Now this is important. How? Right? Not just somebody told us that, oh yes, ascorbic, you should drink the orange juice, it will help you. But how it will help you? What will happen into your body once you consume the orange juice, or you consume the vitamin C? That's really important to understand, that how it consumes the vitamin C. So, as I discussed in my earlier slides, reactive oxygen species, I hope everybody remember that phagocytosis, the side effect of the phagocytosis was the generation of the reactive oxygen species. Now, those reactive oxygen species is nothing but the free radicals present in our body. Is the free radicals present in the body. Now, so we have to scavenge, we have to capture, we have to take control on those reactive oxygen species if we want to protect our DNAs and RNAs, or the normal cells, or the other kind, or some kind of enzymes for the proper functioning. So We have to protect the body with the from the reactive oxygen species. Now, once we it comes that yes, now you know that the phagocytosis is generating the reactive oxygen species. Now, the, the application of the ascorbic acid will come. Now, the application of the vitamin C will come. That vitamin C, how vitamin C is affecting or protecting our body. So, this vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid, is present in the aqueous environment. As everybody know that our body is made up of the fluid, made up of the water, mostly, right? So, ascorbic acid in the aqueous environment is behave as a anion, as a ascorbate, as you can see here in the non-negative form, right? Because it's a very acidic proton. Of course, in the acidic, in the aqueous environment, it will be as a O negative. Now, once you have the reactive oxygen species, which I just mentioned is a free radical. What that means? Free radical means is a single electron, right? Now, that single electron get quenched or get trapped with that negative species, get converted into the free radical, right? Get converted into the free radical. Now that reactive oxygen species get scavenged, get captured with the ascorbic acid, and ascorbic acid converted into the ascorbate radical. Now the same thing will happen with the second hydroxy group as well. Same thing will happen with the second hydroxy group as well. That converted into the another radical in presence of the reactive oxygen species. So those radicals, those two radicals will convert that. So if somebody knows the radical chemistry, now this double bond will come in, cleave homogeneously, right? Is a single electron transfer process to convert the ascorbate radical to the dihydroascorbate, convert to the dihydroascorbate. So people knows about that. Yes, reactive or the ascorbic acid convert to the dihydroascorbate in the presence of reactive oxygen species. That's how reactive oxygen species get captured. But very few people know what happened to the dihydroascorbate. What happens afterwards? What happened afterwards? Now, dihydroascorbate in the presence of the water molecule. In the presence of the water molecule, it get hydrated. It get hydrated means the chemistry people should understand that the water molecule have the oxygen with the on pair will attack the carbonyl center of the ketone, converted into the polyhydroxy with the cyclization to form the lactam kind of ring, and sorry, the furan kind of ring, and again in the presence of the aqueous environment will open and have the polyhydroxy moiety. Now that polyhydroxy moiety is very soluble in the water. So that's how now this polyhydroxy moiety is soluble in the water, it comes out in the urine, and that's how you create, or that's how you improve the immunity by capturing the reactive oxygen species and removing them from the body, right? So you see now the function of the ascorbic acid, how now it makes understandable. Now you convinced, or now I hope you understood somewhat about that how once you drink the orange juice, or once you consume any kind of the citrus fruits, or you consume the vitamin C, how it's acting in our body, right? How it's acting in our body. So, all right. So that was about the vitamin C. Now let's talk about the onion and the garlic. Let me tell one thing pretty clearly, that the onion and the garlic pretty much share the same chemistry because of the chemicals present in them. Because of the chemicals present in them, both of them have the pungent kind of the odor, pungent smell, and the chemical compositions of the onion and the garlic are almost similar, not exactly the same, but almost similar. That makes them the good candidates for the antiviral category. So, okay, let's talk about the common chemical. The common chemical present in the onion and the garlic is the Alicin. You can see this Alicin molecule, Alicin moiety. Now, how it comes? Why we have this Alicin moiety? So, okay, so first of all, Alicin is the common chemical present in both onion and the garlic. Of course, another chemical present commonly in both of them is the aline. Is the aline. So, how it get converted, what happens, that we'll discuss in my upcoming slide. So the thing is that anyways, for now, we need to remember a few things, that aline, this moiety with the positive and the negative, of course, is called the Zwitter ion structure, right? It's called the Zwitter ion structure. So this kind of moiety present in the onion and the garlic is responsible for their smell, strong smell, and I'm sorry. It represents the strong smell as well as the taste. Huh? But that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. The another very important chemical present in only onion. I'm not talking here about the garlic. Garlic we'll talk now in the next uh, in the next slide. But the quercetin is another chemical present in onion and other fruits as well. As you can see, the apple and the blueberries have also this chemical called quercetin. Huh? So all those food items have this chemical quercetin, which is an essential portion of the antiviral agent. How? How? If I say to you that how it is essential, it doesn't mean it's essential until unless we see some proof, right? Now what happens? What will happen? The first mechanism, sorry, the first mechanism, the first mechanism of the quercetin, that how it affect or how it protect our body from the viral cells or from the virus infection is, I mentioned in my first slide, the virus have the virus have the spikes. Why? That spikes have the proteins. Now the proteins, if we understand, the structure of the protein is nothing but the acid and amines, right? Amino acids is amino acids. Now those amino acids present on the protein form hydrogen bonding very easily with the quercetin. So the concept is pretty clear. Concept is pretty clear. Thing is that, as I said before, the spikes on the virus act as a key, right? Act as a key. If you disturb the structure of the key, will you be able to open the lock? No, we will not be able to open the lock. The same thing is happening here. We are disturbing the structure of the glycoprotein with the help of the chemical present in the onion. Now, the chemical present in the onion, which is the quercetin, forms some kind of the bond called hydrogen bond with the proteins. That how the proteins get into the bonding with the quercetin, and no longer can act as the key for the lock to open the normal cell structure and entry, right? What that means, the entry of the virus inhibited or prohibited or stopped when we use the quercetin chemical. So now you see the effect of the onion. Onion has a direct effect on the virus entry. You consume more onion, the raw onion, but raw onion. Let me tell you one thing. Once you cook the onions, the amount of the quercetin decrease with the high temperature, because the quercetin is come from the family of the flavonoids, and the flavonoids is not that stable at high temperature. So once we cook the onion, the amount of the flavonoid is reduced, and the phytochemicals and the biological properties of the onion is also reduced. So if we consume the onion in the raw stage, that's perfect. It's perfect for the immune system. So that's how the quercetin helps in the virus infection by prohibiting or by stopping the entry of the virus into the cell structure, right? Another mode of action is two. So the first thing is this one, right? Second thing, the quercetin does not have only effect on the virus entry, but also on the enzyme present in the virus cells. Also, the enzyme present on the virus cell. So what that means, the virus present in the enzyme have the some kind of the functional groups called hydroxy or sulfur or some other functional groups, right? Now that hydroxy group attack the quercetin molecule and deactivate. Once the enzyme active site is this OH. Once the enzyme active site is blocked, the enzyme is no longer active to do its job for the virus infection. That means the virus infection rate will slow down. So that's another mechanism, or that's another mechanistic pathway how the quercetin helps to deactivate the enzyme. So enzyme get deactivated when it attacks the quercetin. That's how we block that's how we inhibit the enzyme in the body, right? All right, now come to the garlic. As I mentioned before, the chemistry of the chemical composition of the garlic, except the quercetin with the onion, is same. Both have the same chemical called allicin. And but how the allicin is coming? So here we comes with the facts that that it should convince us why garlic and onion is good. That the compound present in the onion and the garlic is Aline, some kind of amino acid, huh? Aline. Once you cut the garlic or onion, do you observe some kind of the liquid coming out of them? Some kind of the fluid, liquid. That fluid and liquid have the majorly the enzyme called alinase. Now, once you chop down the garlic and onion, the alinase comes out that converts the aline into the two different chemicals, which is allyl sulfenic acid and dehydroalanine. That allyl sulfenic acid, because of the sulfur present in the free form, get oxidized very easily because of, as you know, sulfur get oxidized in the air pretty quickly. And to convert that aline into the allicin. Now, this allicin is responsible for everything. It is responsible for the antiviral activity. But remember one thing: the allicin also, as you can see, it have the SS bond, so it's not stable for longer time. That's why we should consume the garlic and onion in the fresh form, not the paste that is available in the market, packed in the packets. We should not consume that because the amount of the allicin is almost negligible in those pastes. So there is only the taste, no biological activity, no function. All right. So as I said just now, that allicin is now we have in the garlic and onion. So with the same chemistry as I just described before about the enzyme, that some kind of enzyme have O or oxygen, some kind of enzyme have sulfur, right? So the sulfur of the enzyme attacks the allicin, So it attacks the allicin. That's how the virus enzyme get inhibited with the chemical present in the garlic and the onion. With the chemical present in the garlic and the onion. So that's how we block the virus enzyme by inhibiting them with the help of the chemicals present in the garlic and onion. So once the virus enzyme attacks the allicin, that converts into the another moieties, which is mostly the mixed disulfides or the thiols, and the virus enzyme, but now is blocked to do its activity. So it's very important to know or to understand everything. That's why the reason is that everybody, most of the Indian families, they consume they consume the garlic and the onion after too much cooking, right? After too much cooking, or or these days everybody want to buy the garlic onion paste or a garlic ginger paste because it's easy to use. But the thing is that of course it's easy to use, but they don't have any value. It's just for the taste. They don't have any nutrition value. So the recommendation here is that we should consume them in the fresh form as much as possible and without much cooking, right? Now that was about the onion and the garlic. I hope I convinced you somewhat about them, their biological properties. The next important food item that we have in our diet is honey. People, I don't know that if we know much about the action, the mode of action of honey, but it's pretty amazing if we understand that how the chemicals present in honey keep the honey preserved for unlimited of period of time. Remember one thing, that honey never get destroyed. There is no expiry date of honey until unless the honey have the moisture content more than 17%. Remember one thing, when the bees make the honey, they keep on flying on the honeycomb because they want to get rid of the extra moisture. And once the honey is ready, the moisture content of the honey is 17%. So the moisture content of the honey is very important to keep the honey preserved for the longer period of time. If you have the pure honey, that honey will never get destroyed or never get expired because there is no microbial actions, no bacterial actions. But once we contaminate the honey with some kind of the, let's say, the moisture or the water, of course it start to get degraded because of the culture or because of the microbes generating in the honey. So honey basically have the sugars, right? Because it's sweet. Honey basically have the sucrose, glucose, fructose, and also glucuronidase enzyme. Glucuronidase enzyme. So, but so okay. To know more that how we should consume honey is very important to understand in what form we should consume. In what form we should consume. So what happens when you mix the honey with the water? So as I just mentioned, the honey have glucose oxidase enzyme as well as the glucose as present in as a sweet chemical composites in the honey. So glucose, in the presence of glucose oxidase, convert into the glucuronic acid. Now, but the side effect of that, or the side product of the oxidation of the glucose is hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, which is an antimicrobial, antibacterial agent. So what happens? What happens when we have H2O2? Once you dilute the honey with the water, it's very important to understand that we should consume honey after diluting with the water. Dilution with the water is very important for the antibiotic or antibacterial, antiviral properties of the honey. So once we consume honey, once we drink honey, or once we take honey, we should take with the water, because once you mix the honey with the water, it converts most of the part into the hydrogen peroxide. Of course, you have the another portion of the gluconic acid and some portion of the glucan lactone, which is beneficial for your body. So that the antimicrobial agent, that H2O2, helps our body to get disinfect from any kind of the microbial action. So so this is the reason. This is the reason that we should consume honey with the with the warm water, not the boiled water, with the warm water. And but to preserve the honey, we should always keep it dry without letting it get affected from the moisture. Once it get affected with the moisture, your honey will get expired pretty quickly. It will get expired pretty quickly. So the decomposition is good, but inside in our body, not in the bottle where we saved it. Right. All right. The next, if the time allows, I will take 5 more minutes, and I think that should be enough. So next is the basic thing that we use in our diet is the turmeric. Of course, the chemistry of the turmeric is very interesting and very vast to explain. So we cannot explain everything, but what we can see is that the chemical present in the curcumin in the turmeric is curcumin. The chemical you can see on the side of my on the right top, that these are the chemical present in the turmeric, which is responsible for the antiviral action. But how is it responsible? So these are the two sides. Two sides means it's the same thing. Two portion of the normal cells. One side, another side. I divided with the red line. So this side there is no portion of the turmeric. This side is a portion of turmeric. What happens with the turmeric chemical present in the chemical the curcumin? Curcumin also have the similar function as of the quercetin. Curcumin also undergoes hydrogen bonding with the proteins present on the viral cell. So it inhibits the virus entry. It inhibits the virus entry. Remember the hydrogen bonding that we discussed just now, that about the quercetin and the glycoproteins present on the viral cells, right? It's the same thing. The curcumin, if you see that curcumin have the two alpha gamma ketone moiety along with those two flanky double bonds. So those structure is mostly like a Michael acceptors, right? Mostly like a Michael acceptor. So it's very easy for the curcumin to undergo the hydrogen bonding with the glycoproteins, and then once they undergo the hydrogen bonding, the key lock theory again disrupted. Once it gets disrupted, the viral cell will not get entry into the cytoplasm or will not get entry into the normal cells. So this is how the food items protect our body with the different chemicals. Different chemicals. There are other factors of the ginger, other factor because the ginger also we should consume in the dry form. Here we should know the here is somewhat typical that we should have the dry ginger as compared to the fresh ginger, because the reason is that ginger should get oxidized. Ginger chemical should get oxidized. Once it get oxidized, it makes some kind of chemical, as you can see the Trolox. Trolox is already the antioxidant drug present in the market. So the ginger should be oxidized, means ginger should be kept in the sun, to have the reaction with the air and have the dry form, and then we should consume the dry ginger. So anyways, there are several other food items that have the good effect on our system, but I'm not going to cover it. Is the plum, purines, and some kind of the mushrooms have glycosides which have direct effect on our T cells. T cells is nothing but the immune system. And the plum have some kind of the chemical called the rutin, which is a potent inhibitor of the RNA viruses of any kind of the virus. So this chemical is present in the plum. So so these are the mechanism of action, as I explained to you about the three or four, at least three different vegetables, that how those chemicals is inhibiting the virus to let into our body is very important to understand before we consume any food. The way we consume the food is very important. In what temperature, how much we should cook is not only for the taste, but is also for the health. So that's why the current generation immunity is low as compared to our old people, because they used to consume mostly the fresh or the less cooked food, and these days the cooking or the fast cooking is destroying the chemical composites present in the food. So this is all my personal concerns. This is my personal feelings that we should have the food in the fresh form, right? If anybody have any concern, I will be happy to take the questions of regarding any slide or any food. Thank you so much.
Sir, I have one question. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, I want to know that how we should consume turmeric and ginger and in what form?
So the turmeric, yes, turmeric should be consumed in the form. Turmeric should be consumed, of course, with the milk, because
Okay.
the reason is very simple. Because the milk have the lipids which help the turmeric to transfer or to travel to the cells very easily. Travel to the cells very easily. As you know, the lipids travel inside our body very fast just because of the lipid-lipid interactions. So just because of the presence of the lipid in the milk, the curcumin present in the turmeric have the bonding, and that's how it travel to the cells very easily. That's why every time we consume the turmeric, we consume with the milk, and the honey pretty much with the water.
And sir, what about ginger?
Ginger should be
Yeah.
consumed. Ginger, as I said, ginger should be consumed in the dry form, in the
Okay.
powder form. Yeah, that is more beneficial because it's oxidized form, and oxidized form is always more effective.
And sir, turmeric with hot milk or cold milk?
Sir, the thing is that it should not be hot or the cold. It should be uh, at the room temperature. Now, the room temperature generally we say 30 degree, 28 to 30 degree. So, for that means either lukewarm.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So there is a question from audience.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Consumption of honey with milk.
I'm sorry, sir.
Consumption of honey
Yes, yes,
with
yes,
milk, good
yes.
or bad?
It's good only, sir. It's good only. Of course, it's good, but it's not beneficial as is with the warm water.
Sir, one more question. Can we store honey in fridge?
Of course, we can store honey in fridge as soon as the lid is tight, because the fridge generally have the moisture. If the honey get the moisture, the sugar will be separated from the honey, and that's how honey get destroyed.
Any
So,
question from audience?
any other questions?
Okay. There is no, no right now, sir.
Hello.
So, hello.
Hello.
So I think the session is, we are going to end the session.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So, sir, please
Thank,
wait a while.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I,
definitely.
I thanks all the audience who listen this tremendous and wonderful session presented by our respected Dr. Kapoor. And I thanks a lot, sir, for such a beautiful and delightful session. It is very
Thank,
informative. It is very informative for us, and
thank you so much.
we will surely get some elements as we are we all many belongs to different fields, and we will hopefully we will try it to increase our and our family members immunity. And
Definitely, sir.
I hope participants have got valuable agents of information also. So, sir, once again, I thanks you, Dr. Mohit. It is very informative session, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, we should now going to end the session, sir. And
Thank you.
very thank you for your presence. Hello, Gaurav ji. Hello, Gaurav ji. हाँ हाँ हाँ, हाँ ओके हेलो